Welcome back to Tug of Heart. Starting to get these, make them a little bit more compact. I think we want to be able to be available and get what we view as important stuff out. And we value your time and we appreciate our audience. As always, like Tug of Heart, share Tug of Heart, and comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. Also, Strong Island, thank you. Thank you for always giving us this platform and being so generous with your time, your energy, and clearly all that equipment. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about understanding hesitation. And the reason I use the word hesitation is because I was going to say finding faith, but faith is a very controversial topic, and we're not here to align your faith or your reasons for not having faith. This is not a biblical excerpt from us. So imagine, if you will, how neatly aligned faith and lack of urgency are. Faith is as powerful as we make, and it's certainly as powerful as we choose to acknowledge it. Even in the most simple of things, like when we fill up our fuel tank, we're in fact placing faith in the notion that our vehicle is going to run the distance, provided by the fuel that we put in it. Now, let's think a little bit deeper. Picture this. There's many of us that have elderly parents, and they may not live in the same city, maybe not even the same state, but they're certainly not within immediate reach. And even if they are, let's still follow along with this for just a second. Let's say that we visit them once a year, because there's some of us that are very lucky to see our parents once a year. Now let's say that they're 65 years old. They're healthy, and they're going to live to the average age of 85. That means you're only going to see them 20 more times. That's sobering. That got me in the feels. I'm trying to talk like these new kids. It got me in the feels to think that, I've gone 2 years without seeing my daughter. Not right now. We just went and saw her, but there have been times where I haven't seen her for 2 years. Let's say I only had 20 years left. That means I'm only going to see her 10 more times. And that's hard to stomach. So when we argue with a loved one, a friend, anybody, we're placing faith in time, that we have time to correct, time to apologize, time to heal. Faith is a very, very powerful procrastinator. And I wanted to talk today. It's wonderful to have faith, but it's also an artificial security, because there will come a time when we have our last embrace, our last hug, our last kiss, our last words. We will hear a voice for the last time. And so this is where I think we need to have a little discussion about faith and understanding our hesitation. Hi, Lori.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. I've been thinking a lot about this since we spoke last.
Well, I haven't, so I'm new to this a little bit, but we spoke one time about hesitation, you and I.
Hesitancy.
In a different context. So today you're wanting to talk about almost like the kind of faith that makes us maybe take things for granted. I don't know if it's if you think it's a matter of just having misplaced faith, like if you have faith in the right things, maybe you wouldn't find yourself in certain situations like that.
I think it really has a lot to do with just that we believe we have time. We just believe we have time, and there's nothing wrong with faith. Faith is a beautiful thing. But faith is also our enemy, because when you do the math, you realize how little you actually have. And Lori, you and I are not just siblings, we're some of the most special of siblings in that we're twins. But we have gone frequently in our time 5 years without seeing each other.
Just when you bother me.
6 years, 10 years, when you've done something horrible to me. And imagine that at our age, we've got another 40 years to live. That's only 4 more visits. Let's say we live to we're 90.
Oh, I did. Yeah. You got bigger. You have more faith than I do.
Let's say we live till we're 90 and we see each other every 5 years. That's what, 8 more visits?
Wow. Okay, so how many should we have?
It's not about how many we should have.
No, I'm thinking no, because that changes it.
Yeah, exactly. We should be making the most of everything. Last time we spoke, and throughout the time that you've included me in your podcast, we've talked about pausing, taking that pause. What a gift that pause is, and now it's like it's starting to become just a part, a reflex to think about these things, because when you pause, you realize how fragile things really are. When you think about what is the quantity, it's not indefinite. We can't spend every day with our loved ones. And for some of us, we're lucky if we can see them once a year. And you think about, wow, 40 more years, that's still just 40 more visits where you sit down and can interact. If we see each other once a year for the next 40 years, we've only got 40 visits left in us. And that's where I'm coming at in faith. I don't want faith in forever to diminish right now, because right now I can take time to go visit you, or you can come and visit me. And this isn't just about visitation. I don't want to fight with you. And whatever I've done wrong to you, I'm probably not going to do it anymore, because I love you. You're my sister, and I haven't got time. I just don't have time to celebrate faith that I've got eternity.
I think when it comes to like a kind of hesitation because of false assumptions, a lot of that is just habitual thinking. There always has been times. People say faith is blind, or belief, whatever you want to call it, belief in what's going to happen next. It can be blind, but the fact is it's always based on something, generally former experience. So if our experience is, so far, everybody who knows everybody has seen them one last time. And so we get into this thinking, which becomes a habit where we don't really consider alternatives. I remember our dad would always be telling us, you never know how long you're going to have your grandparents. You never know which is the last time. He was kind of sentimental like that. And so I can appreciate that. And I think what happens is you have to enter into that pause that you're talking about. Some may call it prayer, meditation, but at least a self-asserted kind of calm, if possible, right? Where you speak within yourself or out loud your fears and then maybe your arguments for the two sides. If your fear is, I don't want to travel because money, time, or the assumption I have more time, step into it and just say it. I don't feel like going today because I have more time, and then question yourself. It's always good to question our own thoughts, and it's always good to sometimes just stop and ask ourselves, what kind of thinking do I do? If I, cause like for me, I'll have friends that say I'm really bad about calling back. That. Really bad about getting to the phone. And that's one of the biggest complaints I hear about me from everybody. And so something like now, presently, I'm a little engaged thinking about this, where it would do me some good to just make a post-it and say 5 minutes to think about the why. In why don't I call more? Why don't I pick up the phone more? Put it on the fridge and then commit to that. 5 minutes could probably make a difference of a couple calls for starters, right?
For sure.
So I don't know. I don't know the whole psyche of it because I haven't invested that time. But I do think it sounds to me like you're talking about just having a little bit more guided. Everybody talks a lot about consciousness and all this, but like a guided, chosen self-awareness, a specific self-awareness that is objective with ourself, with our thinking process. Because the fact is, a lot of faith, belief, superstition, whatever you want to call it, it just kind of happens without us even always knowing why. Right?
You're taking it to a level that's like probably way beyond. I'm just talking about. We've been spending a lot of time talking about like kind of pull the trigger, no pun intended. But we have to act. We have to mechanically do things that set in motion emotion
Mm-hmm.
and a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment, a sense of goodwill. And I think we should, you and I, we're not telling anybody else, but they can consider it. We need to recognize that we must maintain a certain sense of urgency in the things that we do.
Yeah.
Because nothing is infinite. Our time, if we want to do good, what good is it? Look at philanthropists, and it may feel different when you have a lot of time and your immediate needs are not, a daily struggle. So I'm not diminishing anybody's effort, but they do now. They recognize that now it's not enough to leave it behind. They've already worked, they've earned the money. Now they're going to work with that money now to make differences right now. They understand that they can leave it, but they want to pilot or maintain some level of control over what happens, their efforts. They want their efforts to embody the way they feel, but they do it now. They don't wait. And we can all do it now at whatever level we're able.
And do you think that's because people that do have that kind of success do tend to be a little bit more deliberate in their choices, a little more well thought out?
I'm not sure. I mean, I couldn't, maybe the deliberate, facet of the equation is the fact that they did have some success. Maybe they stumbled into that success. Maybe it was a lot of perseverance. But however they ended up with it, they want to exercise a certain level of discretionary giving.
Right.
So they're not just like, yeah, I'm just going to blow through whatever I can, and then when I'm gone, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're working, they're actively working to enrich others. So I think we have to recognize faith. Faith is a beautiful thing. We have faith in others. We have faith in relationships. We have faith in deity for many. But we also have faith in time. And so faith, while a very, very noble word, is not, you can't universally apply it. There are some things where you need to yield to urgency, because to just think, yeah, I'll get to it tomorrow, I'll get to it tomorrow, I'll get to it tomorrow. One day there isn't a tomorrow. And from that comes another very challenging word, and that's regret.
Mm-hmm. Um, see, and I kind of feel like if you have right faith, I don't know that you would not kind of do what you should. My perspective can't help but be religious because I am religious. So to me, it feels natural that we would feel we have a lot of time because I feel like we are made eternal, not, and that is a religious belief. But I think it is important to realize that there's a measured time here. We can all agree on that, the span of life here on earth among one another. And so you don't want to get into not doing the best with what we have here, right?
Correct.
So what about the heart in this? What to be done? Recognize, which we've done, and then like mechanically, how would we set into motion kind of it doesn't have to be formal, but a way of understanding better what deserves our time in the time that we have. How would we go about that as a thought process?
I don't know. I mean, and that's why I know what I'm feeling and kind of, a sense of urgency, like let's do things now. And I have a difficult time when when I'm trying to execute things. I overanalyze, and they call it there's a word for it, analysis paralysis.
Oh yes.
And so we think about when's a good time to go. It's a lot of the conversations we've been having, like when's a good time to have children. Ooh, when I get this, and all of a sudden it goes right by you. And I was fortunate. I was not in control of it, but I was in control of it, but perhaps reckless. But I'm glad that I had a child young, and I've had a lot of years with her, and now I want more. More.
Time, not children, right?
What's that?
Time, not children.
Right. No, I mean, listen, if there are, if there are opportunities to interact with, like, say, grandchildren, I mean, it's great. I'm happy. I love doing it. So how do we play this out? I think that's your question, right? Like what do we do to bring our heart into this? The truth is, I think a lot of it just simply has to do with recognizing, how absolutely temporary things are.
Right.
They're extremely temporary. And in that, start mechanically implementing visits or even phone calls. You know what? Forget it. Most of us have phones nowadays. Almost everybody's got a phone, and a smartphone at that. And they can Skype, and they can Zoom call, and they can, I don't know what all types of things there are because I do very few. But I think we have to start utilizing those things more.
Right. And
you and I get together, for two shows a week, and we talk to each other, and we sprinkle in a little bit of chit chat here and there. But I'm kind of looking forward to your next visit.
It's going to be soon enough.
I'm kind of looking forward to visiting you as well.
I think one of the things that we have to think about too is if, in terms of the heart, just the way what I understand about the heart, if we don't know where to begin, we can always begin right there and just say, by nature, the heart is relational. So the fact is, if you're not seeing people often enough or getting together often enough, you're not truly utilizing your heart in the way that it is meant for anyways. So it's just not a tactic for wellness of the heart, but it also is. That is a good way mechanically to get into your heart, because our heart is meant to be involved with others, starting with our family and our closest and then beyond. and a lot can happen from that. And I do think, like this week, I don't know why, but it felt like the whole world just seemed really moody to me. But and when that happens, you have to say, so is the whole world moody or was I? Well, when you're interacting with people, you can get a sense, right? Oh, it might have been me. But if you're getting involved with those close to you, could be like, no, there was a lot of that on TV. No, there's a lot of complaining this week. But just to have that share, like a point of reference, a sounding board for like, how am I doing? Just relationally to have another point of view changes everything. And I think if people think they still have 50 years to live, we don't always have a lot of time in the here and now to get involved with others and get some other feedback and points of references for just our thinking and well-being. Well-being is urgent. That's the most important thing that's going to happen next to any of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, then, I mean, so in itself, just urgency makes its own case, regardless of how much time you believe you have. I had written a piece when I thought you were not going to be on I thought you were going to miss a podcast, remember? Because you had some work to do, but then you ended up coming on. And the one that I had written was about imminence.
Ooh, save that one.
Okay, we can take off with that because I'll just preview it by saying this. One of the ways that I pointed it out is when Seth was passing and something had changed, but we still had time. The doctor had poked her head in because there was a dramatic physical change. We knew something changed. So the doctors came to see what was going on. And to this day, I remember the doctor leaning in and saying, all right, okay, soon now. And so now when I was looking back at it, I was like, soon and now. Soon means kind of close in the near future, and now means we're in the middle of it. And that's where imminence is. And I think as humans, that's where we have to live, is in imminence. It's happening, will happen, but it also is right now. We are in the middle of it at the same time, relationships and everything else. So if you're not involved with those that you love, you're not in it right now, or that is the behavior you have chosen right now, presently. Even though there could be a future date, me and you are in a relationship every moment, right? Does that make sense?
Correct.
I don't know if I'm frozen on your screen, so I don't know if it's
you
hard.
are.
Okay, I didn't know if you could. It's a little hard to know when to jump in here, but anyway, so it kind of makes me think about that, anyways, in terms of delay, because any delay is actually just kind of feet dragging in a relationship that is imminent. It is active and alive right now.
That's correct.
And I think, any more than you would say with a child when they're 5, hey kid, I'll check you out when you're 7. That just wouldn't do too well for a healthy relationship. So what's the difference? We do want to give people more space, but we have to remember we're currently in a living relationship with one another. How do I treat that today?
Correct. And that's kind of what I was. That's why I said understanding hesitation, understanding, and that word could be removed, and you could insert faith, understanding faith, and faith has its limitations, and I'm not trying to challenge a biblical understanding. I'm saying faith that we have time, faith that we can recover from an argument, faith, the respective faiths. So yeah, I felt this week like we need to understand that it's, faith is great, having faith in people, but we also have to recognize time
Right.
and urgency.
Right.
So that's it, Lori. That was my chat.
Whatever you find yourself in, tend to it right now. It's yours now.
That's right. Exactly. So, Lori, thank you for letting me kind of drop on you unannounced what I've been thinking about. And thank you for helping me get through it.
You're welcome. And so, those of you listening, you can like and share the podcast. Also, you can like and share Strong Island. We're here with Bobby. Hello, Bobby. He has been doing some amazing work. And if you check out Strong Island on Facebook, you can see this guy's kind of getting around, earning some awards now. Strong Island on Facebook. And you can see what's going on. A lot of stuff. I'm happy to know him and feeling proud. So until next time, thank you very much, Leroy. And I'll catch you on the next show.
Adios.